With the Democrat from the coal state of Kentucky saying, hey, look, Allison Grimes has got to say she's a war on coal is the only way she can win this year. Susie, I know listening to that, it sounded like you had some reactions. I'm curious what you were thinking.
I think, listen, it is a war on coal. You can argue it's also a war, a battle for clean energy and alternatives, but it's a battle to get us to use less coal and to get us to cut carbon emissions that way, and there are going to be casualties. I think the congressman mentioned this just in passing. What's sort of been ignored in this entire war on coal debate, I was in eastern Kentucky last year for a story I did about the human impact of this on the tens of thousands of coal miners who have lost their jobs there. This is not just because of Obama's new regulations. That's one part of a much bigger picture, as the congressman mentioned, but there's a human toll for this. And, are these folks going to get new jobs? Are they going to be retrained? I mean, I think this is partly why it really hits home for voters in Kentucky. And we need to sort of acknowledge the fact that this is going to be a difficult transition on a human level for a lot of people.
Well, that's it. I'm always so suspicious in general, and I appreciate the congressman coming on, and it's sincerely how viewing this part. But when a president or any elected official makes a decision like the president made this week, like the administration made this week, yeah, there are going to be winners, there are going to be losers, there are going to be people who like it, people who don't like it. And I think that to take a step back and look at the politics of this, I mean, we're talking about this in the context of 2014. And in 2014, it just so happens that the Democrats' chances of hanging on to the Senate depend on states like Kentucky. They depend disproportionately on red states. West Virginia could be maybe a competitive Senate race. Indiana. But when you take a bigger picture view, say the 2016 election, you take a poll. Nationally, this is popular, what Obama did this week. Nationally, The Democrats have a path to the White House that doesn't include a state like Kentucky. So they can be fine in the big picture. It just so happens that in the year 2014, this could cause them a real problem in the state of Kentucky.
Well, to be fair, the White House really has insisted this is not a war on coal. I mean, Susie is a great reporter. I mean, she's covered all this stuff.
Well, what White House is going to declare a war on coal?
No, I mean, their basic argument is that the idea here is that if coal plants can get up to the right emissions, I mean, Obama has embraced the idea of clean coal and sort of all these sort of things that maybe people who are in the environmental movement don't really believe are real things. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the conversation. I think that, I mean, look, politically, it's interesting because on the one hand, it's not as though they weren't going to run against Obama already in the Kentucky race. I mean, what you have going on there, especially in Kentucky, you have this idea, this weird Obamacare split, where McConnell's like, let's get rid of Obamacare, but keep Obamacare.
But don't call it Obamacare.
Right. The thing that's not called Obamacare.
So, I mean, I don't know that it changes the strategy very much. I mean, whatever Obama does,
well,
they're going to
quickly here, Jonathan. Right. So you look at this race right now. Allison Grimes, Democrat running in a coal state. After this, can she win still?
Yes, if she keeps doing what she's doing. She's a terrific candidate, and she's running against the president and against Washington. As Congressman Yarmouth said, she's doing exactly what she needs to do. Of course, he can be for what the president's doing. He's in a comfortable district. But Allison Lundgren Grimes, who's running statewide, she has to criticize the president on the Affordable Care Act. She has to criticize the president on coal. And whether she believes what she's saying, well, that's up to her and her conscience. But if she wants to become the next senator from Kentucky, she's got to reflect the interests of people in that state. And I'm kind of uncomfortable with the whole phrase war on coal, but as Susie said, there will be casualties, people who will lose their jobs. But if only Congress would pass a comprehensive climate change bill and things like alternative energy, wind, solar, and all sorts of other things, those people who are losing their jobs in Kentucky could be retrained to be part of the new energy sector.
Yeah, no, this is I mean, President Obama's approval rating in Kentucky is like 28% or something. So, I mean, in a way, it's a miracle the race is even right now, but I think it's going to stay even probably through November. Anyway, here is a tough one for Democrats. A Republican facing a grave threat from the Tea Party wants their help. So do they throw him a life preserver or do they get mischievous? That's coming up.